Recording. And let me share my screen here. Great. Cool. So I can close that. And this is what we're going to talk about. So has anybody heard of reCAPTCHA before?
No.
I have, yeah. It's I still encounter it. Actually, I feel like nowadays I'm seeing like a bug at the bottom of a screen that says like protected by reCAPTCHA, but like you don't actually do the
Mm,
selection dance. I don't know exactly what's going on there,
Mm,
but
yeah,
mm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen it when I've logged in user authentication and I have to log into something, or setting up an account and they're trying to make sure that it's not a robot or something.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Great. Yes, we're gonna talk about that today. The one that you mentioned, Douglas, is reCAPTCHA version 3. We're gonna talk about reCAPTCHA version 2. Um, I looked at version 3 and it seems like it's still a bit sort of new and people are still sort of trying to figure out how to best use it. But just to touch on that a little bit, reCAPTCHA version 3 doesn't use any checkbox or any sort of puzzle for you to solve. It's just monitoring the interactions of a user on the page and giving you, based on those interactions, it gives the user a score between 0 and 1, where one is likely to be a human, like closer than the score to 1 is like the more sure the algorithms are sure that you're a human, and the closer to 0, the more likely you're a bot. But it's basically a script that's looking at the page at all times. And we'll see the checkbox, which has a side of that, but also has to be checked um, by someone to be activated. Cool. So reCAPTCHA is really a defense strategy to mitigate bots that might want to spam or overload our apps. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this was because I saw that one of my apps was being abused, and I couldn't find. I still don't know who. Let me see. I haven't protected it yet. So let me see if they spam me again. So they haven't spammed me again. um, someone was just leaving notes here. I removed them recently. Leaving notes with no body or with random stuff, and it was like a lot to scroll. So I thought I want to protect this app. I haven't protected it yet with reCAPTCHA, but that's what I will do it next. I didn't do this one because this app is on just HTML and JavaScript and CSS, and most of your apps are in React, so better give you something in React that um, that you can work with. Cool. So we're gonna learn about reCAPTCHA too. So this is what that looks like. reCAPTCHA is a free service that is provided by Google. I didn't get to research how do they make money, because there must be something how they make money for this to be able to be free. Um, but the way in which it works is we're going to import some scripts from Google and this checkbox sort of widget, and we're going to use them on our app. Eventually, those are going to put in the DOM by React, and I couldn't find like a lot of details on how it works sort of under the hood, because I think this is proprietary algorithms, and Google does a lot of obfuscation for people that want to figure out how it works to counteract on it. But basically, some of the sources that I did look at is we put this in our app, and the Google scripts and algorithms are monitoring our page to tell apart actions that are coming from users from actions that might be coming from bots. For example, like if clicks are happening too fast, or a user doesn't pass over all their elements as they're moving their mouse, then that means that probably whatever is controlling the mouse is not a human. Because like when you go to any site, you're hovering over a lot of stuff, and events are being fired all the time. But if it's a bot controlling my mouse, then there is virtually no movement. Like you just go there immediately and click on stuff like that. So yeah, if the interactions on the page are looking a bit suspicious, then we should prevent that user from going from proceeding any further. So the way we should do that is like this checkbox. This checkbox again is everything comes from Google. We just put it in the DOM, and they take care of making it so that a bot will, unless a bot is like sophisticated and can move the mouse a bit more like a person, can't click it. And if Google is not sure that you click that, and is not totally sure if based on the other interaction data that they collected, that you are a human or not, then they're going to give you an extra challenge, which is this sort of I forgot what it was called, but it's a challenge where you human are, you're better at identifying what photos have parking meters. So you select them and then you click on verify. A computer or a bot to do that is much more harder because they don't have the context that we have. Yeah. So yeah, this is like an example. Parking meters, like sometimes it's select all images that contain bicycles, etc. Cool. So that is that. Any questions or thoughts on this so far?
I was going to say before, I feel like I'll see these pop-ups, the like this parking meter test, more often when I'm on incognito mode on Chrome than when I am just like using my regular standard browser.
That's a really good observation. Yes, I actually read that. Again, I don't know exactly what the reCAPTCHA is looking at on the page, but I heard that they look at stuff like cookies. How many cookies do you have? Like, do you even have a cookie storage, for example? Because if you don't have a cookie storage, that means that maybe it's a script that's running isolated. If you have, I don't think they can actually. But I don't know. I was thinking, I don't think they can look at the history. That will feel like a little bit like a violation of privacy if they could access your history. Or I'm not sure if the browser has APIs to check maybe how big the history is. So there's a lot of I think the word is heuristics. That these algorithms are taking in place to try to tell whether whoever is interacting with the page is a bot or a human. And then when you're in incognito mode, some of these things are removed that sort of aid on you on the algorithms identifying you as a human, and then you get more of those. I have had the same thing happen to me. Cool. All right, so that is the CAPTCHA there. This article was interesting. Talked a little bit about what I just mentioned. Okay, so let's talk about where would you want to use this. Basically, whenever you want to tell a human apart from a bot, and generally, whenever you want to make sure the information you're getting is coming from users and not from a script, for instance, that can run thousands of times in short periods of time to perform certain actions on your site. Some examples of those are one that Ashia mentioned, like when someone is signing out or logging into your app, you don't want thousands of users creating accounts. When someone is checking out an order on your site, I don't remember. I had this happened to me, but I don't remember exactly the site. Where before I check out, they ask me to log in again and verify that I'm a human. Also, this one I got from that article that I mentioned. When someone is booking plane tickets or concert tickets, I could just create a bot that buys them all and then resell them at higher prices. Now I can control them. So that could be an extra check there, so that we prevent bots. Yeah, and most of this involves some kind of form that a user submits. Any comments? Has anyone seen any other use case or encounter any other CAPTCHAs anywhere else? These are the main ones. Oh, also I just yesterday I learned what is it called a CAPTCHA, and I think this article goes into it. Um, oh, do they? Yeah, a completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. That's really what the word CAPTCHA comes from. I didn't know this up until yesterday that I was reading this article. Um, Um, cool. Another thing that this made me think about. Yeah, let's take some time to read this passage here. So I was thinking, I don't think we'll have the time, but I wanted to see if we could have our own small denial of service attack. Um, so denial of service attack is, yeah, when as this says, when service is just overwhelmed, and more if it's distributed, which is then many devices like IoT devices making network requests to these servers, overwhelming them basically. And it was this was a good read. Some of the most famous ones, and it's actually it's commonplace. I think, yeah, and Google was attacked in 2017. AWS was attacked this year, uh, with um, with those services regard like receiving 2.3 terabytes per second. That is an insane amount of data, and that's per second, that they were being overwhelmed with. So these guys, like AWS, all the big guys are taking this really seriously on how do we protect our services, because they can literally cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars for AWS going down a single minute, for example, stuff like that. So um, let's keep going. Let's see if we had the time to have our own small experiment. Let me plug in my computer. Um, cool. So this is how the flow will go, a little bit at a high level. So a user or a bot is interacting with our client, with our React app, and then the user will check the checkbox, and then our front end, we're gonna do this. Our front end is gonna ask. Oh, this is something I forgot to add here. We're gonna have two pieces of information to set up the reCAPTCHA. One piece is called a side key, and another one will be a secret key. And we'll talk a little bit about those next. But in our front end, we have something called a side key that we get from Google once we sign up for reCAPTCHA. And when the user checks the checkbox, our client will send a request to the Google reCAPTCHA service that contains mainly two pieces of data. One is the side key to identify where is this data coming from, and the other one is interaction data, which I looked at is like just random stuff, unintelligible for us, but is I assume to be interaction data. And then we asked the Google service to give us a token, and then the Google reCAPTCHA servers will give us a token, which is just a string. Um, Based on, if it looks like a real user, if that interaction data on the side key are valid, looks like a real user, then return the token. Otherwise, challenge the user, maybe showing pick all the images that have bicycles challenge, for example. And this loop here can have a few goes around to make sure that you're a human. If Google, after a few tries there, doesn't believe you're a human, like you're unable to solve define all parking meters challenge, then that's it. You're sort of stuck in here and you can't ever touch our backend. But let's say, so this was a user, we send the client send that information to the reCAPTCHA service with the site key and the interaction data. And then if that looks good, then Google returns back a token. That token, we have to verify with Google again, but now through our backend. So what we do is we send that verification token that we receive from Google to our server. Then our server, using the secret key, which only we, the developers or the creators of the server, knows, and Google, then send that token with the secret key for authenticity verification on Google's servers. And then if that looks good, that the token is real and the secret key is good, then Google says, okay, token look good. We can send you, the server can do its job. Or if it doesn't look good, then error out, don't do anything. And once we have that, then the server can actually do whatever we wanted initially to do. Let's say was to sign up a user or to check out the order. That wouldn't happen until we get to step 6, which is the token look good, and the server can now do its job. And then if the token doesn't look good or there is something fishy there, then our server will not do anything. Will not create that new account, will not check out that order. So then the server will reply back lastly to the client saying, if everything looked good, then you're a human, then server did the job, or else let's send an error, there was something wrong, we're not too sure. Then the client receives that information back, and then we see that the user was created, the error was checked out, etc. But if it's a bot here, then it will get stuck sort of in this loop and never go out from there, hopefully. Being that they're not creating believable interaction data and they're unable to solve the challenges. Also, we could have a bot that doesn't even talk to our front end, talks to the server directly, saying, sign me up or check out my shopping bag. But then the server will say, oh, you don't have a token, so you're a bot. I'm not gonna do anything with what you're asking me to do. The token, the getting of this token is happening here on the client with the checkbox and talking to the reCAPTCHA service. Any thoughts or questions on this? I know that this is a lot, but I wanted us to have sort of a high level of what we're gonna do in code.
I admittedly, I wasn't quite understanding why we would need like 5, 6 at first. Like I totally got 2, 3, that makes sense. But like the additional check with Google wasn't really registering until you brought up at the very bottom where like you might get direct to the server. And that way that 5, 6 makes sense because without that secret token or the token return, the server won't give out any information. That's
right. That's exactly right. I did remember thinking, why do we have two round trips to Google? And I think I don't remember the answer to that. Yes, I mean.
Yeah, maybe because like some malicious program can create a token, but it's not a valid. So they can send a token, but that's why you have to probably verify it with Google that it's a valid one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it has also to do with the secret key, which is something that only the developer knows to be valid, right? So, so when we send a request from our client, and then we first get the token from Google, and the token doesn't, the token just says this is likely a human likely a human. If it's likely a bot, then it doesn't even give you a token. But then the next thing is like, okay, let's verify that this token is for real. I think as Amin was saying, that this token is valid, which mean, oh, I remember now. So the token is generated in Google's reCAPTCHA servers using the secret key as well. So to check, so the token, I assume using some cryptography, contains some information, or we know that it was, the server will know that it was created using the same secret key. So when we send that to the server, and we send that to the server and then to Google's reCAPTCHA service, Google is sort of verifying, is this the same token that I had given earlier from this interaction, and does it belong to the same site, for example? Cool. So this is at a high level. Some steps the reCAPTCHA will do for us. Some of it we'll have to do ourselves. And hopefully this provides a good overview of that. Okay, also something that I should have mentioned at the beginning is, especially for example, Siham and Ashia, I know that you work with 6.4 work with Firebase, and I realized that a bit too late yesterday that it's actually slightly different of a setup because of wait, hold on, let me see. Because you still have a backend, but your user authentication is happening on, yeah, your user authentication is happening on Firebase. So what you want to protect really is Firebase from being overloaded. I'm sure that Firebase has some checks in place there. But if you wanted to, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna implement reCAPTCHA for preventing a lot of users signing up onto our site too fast and too many. But if you wanted to prevent that from happening on Firebase, then what you're really protecting is Firebase from getting too many accounts too fast. I'm sure Google already does something there to prevent that because it's their services. But you can still implement it. And I linked to here at the bottom reCAPTCHA with a Firebase app. I think this lesson will still be helpful because it's gonna help you see some of the steps that you would do. Some of the stuff in the back end, the idea is the same, is that you'll apply it on Firebase. So I hope this is still helpful, and I hope you still go on and try to implement these in your apps. And I hope I can also get to help you if you run into any issues there. Okay, so before we start implementing it, how are we doing on time? We have 30 minutes. I feel like I wanna try to overwhelm a server that I have with your help. So to try to see if we can get a DOS attack on my own server. So I have this server which I call, I think, reCAPTCHA full stack example. Oh, and I think it's going to take a little bit to load. Oh, maybe I can give you, yeah. Maybe I can give you a small script. Let's see. So this app, this is the app. It actually only has user authentication. That's the only thing that it does. I think I currently have one user register. Yeah, and then I sign up, and then I'm here. This is the whole app. The point is, like, we want to protect the sign up process here. So we want to protect that form. Right now, this is the whole thing. It just shows you these users. And you can't go to users if you're not logged in. So if I log out and I try to go to /users, it's asking me to log in because I'm not allowed to go there. So that's a protected route there. And what I want to do is to protect this sign up form. Actually, I want to protect both forms from anyone attempting to to overwhelm my server signing up too many users, for example, or making sure that whoever is creating accounts are actually users and not just bots. So this is the entire thing. Let me sign up my user. Oh, I hope I typed my password right. Cool. Now I have 2 users. This is the entire app. So right now, this login, this sign up is unprotected, right? And a bot could create many. If we put it in a loop, it could possibly thousands of accounts a second or so. So what I was thinking was, like, what if we write a script that does that in an infinite for loop, and I run it, you run it, and then all attacking this server, see if we get it to crash and see if we get it to not even show me the front end. Let's try to do that. I don't know exactly how. I was thinking of doing it with JavaScript, but I think I'm going to do it with curl. And we get to learn a little bit of a terminal. Curl post request. So we're just going to learn how to create a curl post request. Sending additional fields with a post request. So it seems like it's just this. So let's try it out. Let's do iTerm, which is my terminal. Curl is a terminal program that allows you to make network requests. You can think of like Axios, but the Axios for the most basic one. The one that, if you're writing a program in C, for example, you would use, there's no Axios there, you use curl, or the libraries that curl is made on. So let's do the, let's see, send fields with a post request. Content type. I think we could specify content type, send in a file. I think it should be just this. Let's do username. I'm gonna say, but I realized one problem. Let's do Alejo1 and password. These are the fields that I need to send to my backend. Password equal 123. Then let's say X post, and then I'm gonna put the URL for my backend, which I think the URL to sign up a user will be this. I think /API/auth/sign up. That's if I remember correctly. Let me take a quick look at the app. View code, server, routes, auth. Yeah, sign up. Great. So let's try it out. Let's see what happens. I'm going to hit enter. Awesome. The user was created. User Alejo1, success adding new user. And this is the raw data that I got with curl. So now what happens if we put this in a for loop, but I'm also going to need, I can't sign up the same user because my backend is going to set failure adding a new user. That's because the username is already taken. So I need to have a new user every time.
Just concatenate the username with the I from your infinite loop.
That's right, exactly. So I don't remember how to do a for loop on, I think this is bash. But hopefully we can, and then I'm just gonna give you this to copy and paste, and then we'll see if we have our app. Infinite loops. There is a section in infinite loops. But I think, for I in 1, 2, 3. Actually, let's see. Generate random string terminal. Sorry, I'm going a bit all over the place here. So it seems like maybe we can do this to generate a random string. Let's try this out. Oh, no, that didn't work on my terminal. I know that we can do head dev random. So there's this thing actually that just gives you random data, and it looks like this. But I guess we want it to be on. We want it to be like only letters. So let's try this part only. Illegal byte sequence, but I think that's from the random part. Do we have this one? Let's see, we have OpenSSL. Awesome, there we go. We have some random data coming from base 62. Is this the length? Yeah, okay. Let's use a bigger length so that we have less chances of running into issues. So, so I think here, what I'm gonna do is VS Code. So, you know, let me actually create a folder, my bot, and then open my bot with VS Code. And what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna create a bot file.sh where I'm gonna just use this. Oh, you know what? Let's do, yeah, so let's do, and then here I'm gonna say bang bin sh. This is to run this with the shell. And then here I think I can do random, and I can save that to a variable like that. And then I'm gonna take my curl script, which is this, and then I'm gonna paste this. Hopefully this works. So I need to put in here. What I'm gonna do is Alejo, and then I'm gonna say random. That should concatenate it there. Let's try this out just like that. So to execute this, actually, I don't remember if I put space there. Let's try it out. To execute this, I'm gonna go in my terminal and I'm gonna do cd my bot, and then let's do sh bot.sh. Run command not found. Oh, so it did do something. Line 3. I think maybe I have to do this. Filter adding a new user. The console log of terminal is random. Sorry, it's a echo. Let's see what we're getting here. Oh, so why is this only getting me that? It's giving me only a few numbers. That's interesting. What was the original? 12. Let's try just 12. I guess like we're hitting a roadblock here.
Maybe try to don't store it in a variable, but like the command line in the curl.
Like here. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try the terminal again. Yeah, that worked. This is so interesting. Let me check real quickly. Bash variable assignment. Yeah, I think it's just that. For some reason, my variable is not working. Echo, and then we do. We can do this LSA, but that's what I'm doing here. I wonder if random is actually something that exists. Echo. Oh, that's actually something.
Probably a random number. Not other random.
Let's call it just R. I don't believe R exists. Let's call my bot again. There we go. Awesome. Okay, cool. Great. So just R, we got that. Now we just need an if loop, and we have an attack. I think we saw the infinite loop somewhere around here. Oh, so this doesn't take that. And then we could just do this. So for nothing, do this, done. Okay. We will see.
No, it can run because the random is still the same one. Maybe you see R is. Maybe we put it inside the loop.
That's right. Oh, what did I do? No. Okay. Okay, and let's try it out. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens. Do sh bot.sh. There we go. It's flooding my username. I think it's a bit slow for some reason. I think it might be because of sprinting, but it's going. So let's see how many users did it create. I'm gonna log in here with my username. Actually, I don't remember the password for that. I didn't create that many. I wish the photo was faster. I wonder why it's not faster. Okay, so
maybe curl is asynchronous. It doesn't execute before receiving the response from the first one.
Yeah, sure. It's synchronous. Yeah, I'm not sure, but let's try. Let's try this out. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna put it here. Code share. Oh wait. Also, what if? But I don't think that will have any effect. I was wondering a while loop. Bash while loop examples. Just let's try this. While that. Yeah, I know it's a bit slow, but let's try. Let's still try it. Let's try if all of us are doing this. What would happen? So actually, the one that you have that I just already shared works. So what I want you to do is to copy that text, paste it onto a text file, and also I think change your name so that we know where it's coming from. So in the username, instead of Alejo, put your name there. And then give me a thumbs up once you have it. I'm gonna refill my water bottle in the meantime.
And to run it, you do only SH and the name of the file.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the ID generation is fast. So I think it's the curl. I wonder if maybe if curl was a bit silent. Oh, I think that's why. We'll see.
What do you mean by silent?
Like if it didn't produce any output because it's waiting for the response to then show me the output, show me what it got from the server.
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. Like it doesn't execute the next one until it gets the response from the server.
Now that makes sense. Yes, I think that's the one. Then yeah. Let me know if you have any questions, anyone, as you're doing that. Let's say I'm gonna copy these. Oh, the thing is just like this. Oops. Oh, no, but I don't want to echo. Oh, give me 1 second. I think my landlady is calling me. I'll be back. Okay, how did it go? Anyone has it running?
Mine's been running for a little bit.
Okay, so let's see. Oh, this is Joanne, Douglas, Dougbot. There's a lot of. I think Joanne, you got it working. How about? Oh, I think Ashia is on her phone. Right, I forgot how to spell Joanne. 33. So John, is yours running as well?
Yeah, but I stopped it.
Okay. Okay, that's right. You could stop it. I mean, where is yours? NCM.
I just ran it. I was waiting for your permission.
Okay. See Ham. Let's see. Ham hasn't gotten it
No, I
yet.
didn't. No, I didn't run it.
Okay. But do you have the file already?
No,
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to do it.
I'm gonna do it later if I wanna watch the video back.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So then let's put it all to run. So stop them and stop them, and then wait. I wanted to see if I add s here, if that will do anything. I don't think that will do anything in my case, but let me run it again. Sh bot.sh. Yeah. Well, so that's running. So put it to run. I mean, Joanne and Douglas. Code's running. Let's see. I'm gonna go to home. I'm gonna log out, and then I'm gonna try to log in. Maybe the server is still able to handle this load. I guess it's still being able to handle it. We have created only 2,000 users. Refresh this. I guess it's, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, 2,000 users. Let's see if we can speed it up a little bit. I'm gonna try to do here, like, let's do, yeah.
For me, I may try like just an Axios request, but instead of no waiting, I just like throw it in a loop. Maybe faster.
That would, I think so. I think that will be faster. I'm gonna try to do this thing that they suggested here, which was redirect the output to dev null, which I can do with this. And then I'm gonna see if that goes a bit faster. No, still slow. One more time before we move on. Curl, don't wait for response. Oh, I guess like there's some other complicated stuff. Yeah, so I guess we can do it without curl waiting for the response. So are your bots still running? I think Douglas, I
just
think
turned mine. I was just saying I turned mine back on.
Okay. I guess like I don't think we're not going enough. We're not going sufficiently fast, and there's not a lot of us to overwhelm the server. I think the most we have created is like 3,000. But you could imagine if this is being done by thousands of computers, maybe infected in the web, like even routers, IoT devices. This is like a really tiny example. On what would happen is eventually the server will be just overwhelmed, and then it will run out of memory and it will crash. And that's a denial of service attack when the server just gets overwhelmed.
Is this getting close to like your 10,000 rows?
Yeah, I guess like on Heroku, once it gets to that 10,000 rows, I will have that issue. But we got to 3,000, which was still. But the point here is like, we created these bots that are creating accounts, and we shouldn't allow that to happen. Basically, that is really the point. I wanted to see if we could overwhelm the server, but the server is still going strong. Maybe as Amin suggests, we do it with Axios in JavaScript and we don't wait for the response. Then that will be able to fire many more requests much more faster. Because curl seems to be waiting for the response before we go onto the next loop. Okay, any thoughts or comments on questions on this small experiment? back door. Cool. Well, I guess like we saw a few things of while loop or for loop and shell. Cool. So let's move on from here. So the point is we're gonna repeat this in a few, maybe at the end, and then see how our server is protected, and we're not gonna have spammers like ourselves here. Cool. So that's a lot of users. Let me close all this stuff. Let's keep going. So now to actually get to the setup, the first step will be then, I can close this. The first step will be to sign up, register for CAPTCHA. And to do that, we go to the CAPTCHA console. This is, when you get to if you Google reCAPTCHA, you're gonna get here, and then you go to the admin console. And here, actually, you're generally bumped into a screen that looks like this for you to create a new site. This is because I had already one running. But if this is the CAPTCHA console, and then here I can create a new site. Here you will specify the name of your app, and then what version of reCAPTCHA you want to use. So maybe like, could be, I think Binge It. I think one of you had created an app called Binge It for the CTA, so I'll call it like that. Then here, you select reCAPTCHA 2, and then which one of the variants you want to use. In this case, we're going to use the checkbox. And then you specify the domain. So this is important here because what I'm going to use here is the domain where my app is running. So maybe like if I call this users app, and my app is running on the Heroku domain, which is reCAPTCHA full stack. So this is my domain. Let me add a little bit of zoom here. So my domain is only that, no slashes, no HTTP. This is my domain. So this is the domain where I want to authenticate requests from. So this is an important step here. I do that. For testing purposes, we're also going to add localhost to that, so that we can try it out on localhost. And we must remember to remove localhost once we're done, because if not, then someone running a localhost will be able to verify CAPTCHAs. So at the end, we were going to come back here and remove that. So I'm actually gonna do it. I'm gonna do it here. I'm gonna create this new one. So reCAPTCHA localhost, and I accept the terms. I should have mentioned you should be logged in with any Google account. I recommend your Pursuit account, but any Google account will do, and you know that here. And then that's it. And then I submit. When you submit, you are given two pieces of information: the site key and the secret key. The site key we'll use in the front end. The secret key we'll use in the back end. I'm just gonna go ahead and add this to a text file. Copy, site key, and then secret key, because I'm going to use them in a little bit. So your site key and your secret key, you copy them somewhere. That's it. And then you can click go to analytics. And then this is all empty because we don't have anything yet there. So that's it. That's the sign up process for reCAPTCHA. I put, that what I just talked about here. There's like an example screenshot that you can take a look at here, etc. So now we have our keys. Also feel free to interrupt me at any point with any question. The next step then will be to, I guess this should have also been under client setup. Install and set up the React Google reCAPTCHA in the client. So what we're gonna do is, so I skipped this. Did I skip this step? Step one. This is, you don't have to do it, but this is an app that I'm going to be using, which is the app that we saw deployed, that users app. I'm gonna, oh, this is still going. Let me go outside. reCAPTCHA lesson maybe. And then I'm gonna clone my app here. So I'm gonna do git clone. You know, this will do, you wouldn't do clone if you want to do it on your own app. You already have that somewhere. But now I'm gonna open this with code. So this is a very simple app. I have a client and a server. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go onto the client. Let's open up a terminal here. And then I'm just going to install npm. Oh, sorry, I have to go to the client first. I seem to have to go to reCAPTCHA / example, then client. I'm gonna do npm install. What we're gonna install is React Google reCAPTCHA. React reCAPTCHA. We install that package. 404 not found. I put 3 O's. Spelling mistakes. Maybe that's the one. We wait for that to install, and then we're gonna actually then use it. So you can see here that we're just gonna import a component from that, like from any other library. So let me walk you a little bit here on my app. So this is my app. This is the app component. Let me make this a full screen. In my state, I keep track of the user and whether they're logged in or not, or whether I'm loading the user, for example. I have a component in mount that when the app mounts, we check the user logged in. And that's just going to make a request to check if there is someone logged in. My logout user is here. And that's pretty much it. And then I have this render auth container. Let me show you the render here. So we basically have that navbar that we saw, a very simple one, and these routes. So we have login, sign up, then we have users and profile, which are private routes. And then we have home. That's it. The login and the sign up are going to, these are some of the older React syntax. I hope some of you still remember. Or like route, path, and render. Then this is gonna login and sign up are gonna call render auth container. And then the auth container is just a component that is housing both the login form and the sign up form. That we pass in the set user function to hold on to the user and save it into the app state. And the is user logged in flag. And then we forward any route props. So let me show you the auth container here. The auth container is, as I said, it has a switch which renders either the login form or the sign up form based on the URL, whether we're login or sign up. So this houses those two. I guess this also says if the user is logged in, then redirect them to the profile because they don't need to see the login forms if they're already logged in. Otherwise, then show them the login forms. Small ternary there. And then the login forms, you can already imagine what they look like. Here they are: sign up form, handle chain, username, password, sign up user function to call when you submit. And render login, same. Login form, handle change, username, password, login user. Questions or thoughts on any of this? So also, like if you're using hooks, if you're using hooks, or if you're using the new React router syntax, it's still, the idea is still the same. It will be the execution on how to do this, but like, yeah, the routes that now are wrapping now wrap the components instead of having it to be like this way. But again, let me know if you're implementing and run into any issues. So this is the auth container. So let me go on to add a little bit of context there. Oh, you know, I should have done, while I was doing that, I want to install all the dependencies on the client, and we also need to do that on the server. Server npm install. Oh, that was quick. I think I had never seen React dependency installs so fast. Let's start this npm start, and let's start the server npm run start dev. Cool. So we have our app running here. I don't think, do I have any users? I think I do. I do have a few users here in my local. Great, but that's pretty much it. Also, the part that I wanted to provide more context in was this. If we inspect here, oh, why is my computer not charging? Oh, I guess, yeah. Is we inspect here the components tab, not Redux. We can see that app is the whole thing, right? Navbar is the navbar. Let me close the navbar. And then we have this switch. The switch is currently displaying home, which is that. When I go to login, we see that the switch is housing all of this area, the stuff that's highlighted. And then we have a route. And then here, this is the auth container. And the auth container has switch and route inside, ultimately showing the login form. But if I go to sign up, you can even see it changing here. I don't know if you can see it here. That's still within the auth container. So the auth container houses both forms. So because I wanna protect these two forms, I'm gonna use my reCAPTCHA in the auth container. But you could also do it independently in one form and independently in the other one. Okay, so we have that there. Now we install our React Google reCAPTCHA component. So we just need to import that. Import, I think it's just reCAPTCHA from React Google reCAPTCHA. And then, so that it renders for both forms, I'm just gonna do it like here. reCAPTCHA. So just like that, let's see if we have anything by just doing that. Oh, what did I do? I've never done this. I guess you can put, that's interesting. Okay, let's see what we get in here. Our app seems to be crashing. That's because I think we didn't configure the reCAPTCHA. So for instance, we see an error missing a site key, etc. So let's do that. So in here, in the reCAPTCHA, we need to pass in 3 props. One is site key. And this site key is what we got when we signed up, which then I put in my notes. Site key. I'm gonna copy and paste this here. Hold on, where's my? So we have the site key. We also need 2 functions on change We're going to write this function next. I'm going to call it handle reCAPTCHA token. And then we're going to have on error handle reCAPTCHA error, just like that. Oh, I guess this is that because we're in a class traditional component. So we're going to have those functions. Let me comment this out here for a second, see if we already got something. Cool. So just with that, we already got the little checkbox. It seems to work, but we need to have those functions to actually have it working. And because we're rendering that in the out container, then that stays on both on the login and the sign out form, which is we want to protect both. So we have that on change error. Now let's implement these functions. So let me go up here. Also, for those functions, we are going to add something to the state, which is, let's call it reCAPTCHA token. This is where we're going to hold on to the token that Google is going to give us. And then maybe not bot equal to false. This is where we're going to keep the values of the checkbox. Check if the user is not a bot. We want to turn that to true at some point. So those are the two pieces of data that we're going to use in the state. And then here, let's just write those functions. Handle reCAPTCHA token. This function received the token here. And handle reCAPTCHA error. CAPTCHA error there. Let me take a look at here. So we add that, not bot reCAPTCHA. And then we do handle. Okay, so what we're going to do in the handle reCAPTCHA, we're going to check if there's a token. If there is, then we're going to set the state to say not bot equal to true, and set the reCAPTCHA token. Did I misspell it? Yes, token equal to the token that we got. Else that means that something went wrong, and we want to make sure that we have reset this here. Yes. So we want to make sure that this goes back to false.
Okay.
Yep. What was that?
It's like a mission, like for not bot should be false.
Mm-hmm. And then reCAPTCHA, in case it might have been set, let's put it back to empty string. And then we want to display an error to the user. Right now, I'm just going to do that with window.alert. But you may have your own messaging strategy, or displaying message to the user. And I want to say, oh yeah, this is why we want to do that here. This might happen when the user checks the checkbox and doesn't submit on time. So this might happen when the reCAPTCHA expire. So I'm going to call like human verification expire. Please indicate you're not a bot again. So we do that one there. For the error, I don't remember exactly. Yeah, we just do this basically. Let me copy that. We just set, make sure to set that to false, restart the reCAPTCHA in case there was something there, and then we just alert there was an error. Please check your network and try again. The error most often is because of a network issue. Cool. So we have this. Let's see if this already works. And then these functions we're passing in here as on-chain and error for our reCAPTCHA component. So let's take a look. Go to our app. I'm going to open the components tab here to inspect the state. And this is the state of the auth container. Why are there so many of them? Should only be one. Auth container. So we see not bot is false. Password, reCAPTCHA token, and the username. So let me check the checkbox. So once we check the checkbox, the handle reCAPTCHA token gets called, and the not bot is set to true, and we have our token here. This token came from Google. Also, for instance, if I leave it here right now and I don't submit, the token will expire after a minute, I think. So let's wait 1 minute and see what happens and why we want to reset this.
Quick question, Alejo, please.
Yep.
When you did the setup on the Google website, why did you choose version 2? What's the difference between that and version 3?
Oh, yeah. So version 2 is this widget, the checkbox, and maybe the challenge on asking you to check images that match a certain description. I didn't use version 3 because version 3 is just look a little bit more complicated to set up, and I wanted something quicker. And also because it's really new, and then like people still sort of trying to figure out how to best use it. One main difference is that for version 3, the user doesn't need to check anything or doesn't need to. The user is never challenged, really. The way in which it works is it's just a script that you import on your app, and it's constantly monitoring everything the user is doing. And then based on that, it gives you a score from 0 to 1, where 1 is most, the closer that score to 1 means that most likely that interactions are coming from a user. The closer they're to 0, they are coming from a bot. But then you, the developer, have to pick what happens if 0.5. Do you default to reCAPTCHA version 2 to test the user, or do you just completely block it? So like there is no set limits. We have to set those limits ourselves on like the score, and then that just seemed a bit more complicated. And as is also kind of like new, then I feel like the industry as a whole is still trying to figure out how it works. I decided to go with reCAPTCHA 2 because it has been around for longer, and is a bit more established. But most likely version 3 at some point will come up to speed. But yeah, so that's mainly the reason. So we see here that then after a minute, the human verification expire, and then we get this message. And then when I click OK, then this says that because the tokens are only valid for a minute, and then we see that this went back to false, and reCAPTCHA token went back to empty. So then I can just check it again. We get a new token, and then here what I want to do is when I hit sign up right now, if I go to the network tab, there's a lot of requests from Google there. When I click sign up, oh, this is giving a 500. Why is it failing? But the point is that we are sending the request.
I believe your backend is not running.
Backend is not running. That might be no, it is running because we got a 500. Oh, I guess I'm trying to sign up a user that already exists. Let's try Alejo 1. But also, let me restart this. Refresh that here. Sign up Alejo 1. Oh, I guess we also want to prevent sign up. Oh, you see, we wanna prevent two things. One is we wanna prevent the user from submitting the form without having checked the checkbox like I just did. Like the user should be able to. We shouldn't let them submit the form without having this checked. So that's a simple one. Right now, it is being able to submit without that. So for that, what we will do is just have an if statement in our handle submit, which are this sign up user and the login user. So I'm going to say if is not if not bought, then let's do that. Else, wait, did I do this? I didn't do that way in the right place. Else, let's do window.alert. Please verify you are not a bot. So that we do that. And then we just repeat on our sign up. I was thinking that I could have just written this into one function, but a small repetition here would not hurt. Let's do not here. Here, else, the same thing. Please verify that you're not a bot. So that will just take care of preventing the form submission. Oh, and I have to say this dot state that not a bot because I'm in the React class component. So let's try that out. Refresh here, login, try to log in. Then we get our message there. Please verify you're not a bot. Okay, so we're not gonna let us submit. Now let's say I check that, not a bot, then we can log in and it's gonna let me log in. So that's a small check there. Cool. So let me log out. So that's the first step there, preventing the form from submitting if they haven't checked the box. The next thing will be to then, once we get this token from here, and we have it in our state, we want to send that token to our backend to verify it with our backend. So to do that, we need to make sure that we send it in the request. Right now, because of the way that I built this app, I realized that it's already doing that. So if we look at why it's doing that is because if we look at the auth container, this is the state of the auth container, right? Password, username, reCAPTCHA token, and true. And then when I hit submit, if my token doesn't expire in any time now, I click login, and I look at that login request, which was this one. You can see that in the data that I'm sending, if I scroll down here, I'm already sending password, the username, the two most important pieces, and then I'm already sending the reCAPTCHA token. Why I'm already sending that without having to make any change is if we look at the code, is because when I send a network request to sign up, I am passing my entire state here. This is because it's a simple state. I don't put it into another object to pass it here. I'm just passing the entire state there. So that means the entire state will be sent to the server. And when you have a lot of state and not all the information is needed in the server, then maybe you will create an object before it, grab all the information from the state, and just pass that object in here to your request. But I'm doing the same here for login. So whenever I make the request, I'm sending literally my entire state, which already includes my reCAPTCHA token. So that is it for the setup on the client, really. So let's let's commit here. Let's do cd dot git status. I'm gonna say git add all. I forgot how to do this. Just do git period. And then let's do the git commit and reCAPTCHA client setup. Cool. So we have our, oh, I should have not committed on the master branch. Let me see how I can fix that really quickly. So I think what I'm going to do is git checkout
Add the git
reCAPTCHA.
stash.
But I can't really do git stash anymore because I already committed. So what I'm going to do is git checkout. I'm going to create a new branch called reCAPTCHA done in class. And now this branch is the one that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to git push that. Done in class. I'm going to push that to GitHub. I can do this because I haven't pushed my master to GitHub. But if I had pushed my master to GitHub, then I will be in trouble. And then I'm going to go check out master. And then if I do git, that's git log -- something, one line decorate. This is where GitHub is at this point, which is the previous commit. I need to go back here. And I think to go back there, I think is git reset head one commit back. I don't remember. How do I undo the last commit? If you don't want to keep these changes, simply use the hard flag. We have to be a bit careful with this. I think this will give me issues again if I had pushed to GitHub already. So it is git reset hard head squiggly one. And if I go git log here, one line decorate. So you see how the head is on that commit that I had done. I'm gonna point the head back to this point. So now the head is at 47C23, which is 47C23. And when I do git log now, I see that the head is there. So that commit is the commit that I had done there is gonna disappear. So I sort of brought the head back, but that's not the main point of this lesson. We're gonna go to reCAPTCHA done in class. And because when I created this branch, I had that commit, so I still have that commit that I wanted, which was applying the reCAPTCHA on the client. Okay, so we can continue from this branch. Sorry about that. Let's start this. NS, I just have an alias. NS is alias on my terminal for npm start, because it's something that I do all the time. Then now the setup, moving on to the setup for the server. So I think I can run my server. If I'm in the server folder. Let's just make sure everything should still be in order. Great. When I check, No, I can't log in. Okay, so then that is that's the token that we get from Google. Also, if you inspect the network request here, you'll see that Google is making a few of them. One of them is the user verified, this one. This one, you can see that my key is here. This is my site key. This is a request that Google thing is doing. And then if we can see the data that is being sent is here, but this is the interaction data that I was talking about. That is just, you know, unintelligible. No idea what all this stuff is, but it's probably something that Google uses to tell apart or judge whether that interaction is coming from a user or not. And this data must be generated from Google looking at the interactions that they have with our site. But the point is that then this, even though this is happening automatically, I wanted to show you a little bit under the hood. If we look at the response, oh, failed to load response data. Let's try that again. Let me log out. Try again, clear this, go to login. So this loads the CAPTCHA. Let me clear that. I'm gonna do that. And then this user verified request. Okay, here we go. The response is this. And then this is the token that we got. I know that just because I check if we compare this with the token that we have in our state is 03AG. We go to our components. We go to our auth container. Our reCAPTCHA token is 03AG. We saw that it starts with the same ones. Okay, so then as I was saying earlier, the next step is to then send that token to our backend like we are already doing with this login request. And the login request is including everything from the state, and therefore we have our CAPTCHA token here. So we're sending our CAPTCHA token to the backend. Now we're gonna verify our CAPTCHA token in the backend. So for doing that, what we're gonna do is, let me maybe open up a new terminal here. I'm gonna go to the server, and then I'm gonna need to install Axios to make a request in my backend. We wouldn't need to really install Axios. We could do, Node has a built-in request library, or is the HTTP library. I was trying to do it with that so that we don't have to install Axios, but I decided it was a bit more complicated, and I didn't want us to have to worry about those things for this example on how to use that other module to make the network request. So we're going to use Axios to make that network request. But the next step is also going quickly here to the flow. We have this flow already done. So now the next flow is this 7, this 4, 5, and 6, and eventually 7. That's the flow that we're going to implement right now. This one, 2 and 3, we have already with the checkbox in place. So here, I install Axios. Now I'm going to go onto my backend. Actually, sorry, let me just look at the steps that I had outlined here for the backend setup. Okay, so the first thing is to have our secret key in an environment variable. I think some of you are very familiar with environment variables and with an env file that we can store them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an env file, because I don't think I have one, in my server. Call it .env. And here I'm gonna have a variable called reCAPTCHA secret key equal to, sorry, no need for the space, equal to then my secret key. My secret key, I have it here. I guess the secret, Since this video is going into YouTube, I'm gonna have to remove these keys later on. Just delete that reCAPTCHA. So we have our reCAPTCHA key here. So what we want to do is we want to be able to access that in our server. And to do that, we need to load the environments variables from the env file. So what we do to do that is we have a package called .env, which I linked to here. I think most of you have already used this. .env just loads files from loads environment variables from a .env file, and then we just need to run this at some point in our app. Generally, like in our app.js, all the way at the top, or index somewhere soon to run at the beginning of our app. So I think I already have this line. If I go to my app in the backend, yeah, I already have this line here, which will read my environment variable and make it available for my app. So my app, if we console log here to access the environment variable, we can do process.env, the name of the variable, reCAPTCHA secret key. Let's see if this is already working. So I save that. Let's go to my backend. Cool, and we see my key being console log here. That's because this loads the environment variables, and then I can read them from the environment like this, process.env, the name of the variable. And we're gonna use that line in a bit. Okay, so that's the first step, setting up the environment variable. Once we do this in Heroku, we'll need to set up, store this in Heroku as an environment variable. But we do it in the .env file because we don't want to push it to GitHub or expose it ever. So that's that. Then we're gonna install Axios. We did that. Now we're gonna implement a function called verify reCAPTCHA token, and we're gonna implement that function in the server auth helpers. I know for Siham and Ashia, I don't think you have this because of your setup on Firebase. But in your case, if you're doing this on Firebase, this function will leave. This will live in something called a Firebase function that I briefly, as I skimmed through that article that I linked to on how to do reCAPTCHA with Firebase. It turns out you could have functions in Firebase that do stuff, and they kind of act as they can aid on your backend to do certain tasks. And that's what is known as like serverless, really. Just having functions that do work. And you don't really need a server to have them all. But the process will be similar. I guess there you wouldn't use Axios, you would use something else. So the way in which we'll implement this is I'm gonna go to auth helpers. And here we have our usual like hash passwords, compare password, login required. I'm gonna do it here. Do const verify reCAPTCHA token. And this is going to receive, this is going to be a middleware. So I'm going to receive the request, the response, and next. I hope this is also a little bit of a refresher on middlewares. And also this is going to be an asynchronous function because we're going to make a network request. And then we're going to do try catch. And then in here is where we're gonna call Axios to verify token with Google and handle the error. So we're gonna, before I go any further in here, the way I'm gonna export this function, verify reCAPTCHA token. And the way in which we're going to use it, even though I haven't finished writing it, is I'm going to go to the routes that I want to protect, which are in my routes, auth for users, sign up, and login. And the way that we're going to use this function is here. These are middleware. You can specify middleware in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, this is coming from the auth helpers, which I'm already importing here. So I just have to do auth helpers that verify reCAPTCHA token, comma, the rest. So what this does is when a request arrives to /signup, first it's going to be sent to auth helpers reCAPTCHA token, verify token. And then if that goes well, then it gets to this point, which is, has the password and add the user to the database. But only this part only happens if this part went well. So that's that there. For my login is the same thing. Auth helpers that verify reCAPTCHA token, and I have a helpers. So this is similar here. Any request to login will first go to auth helpers verify CAPTCHA token. If that goes well, then we execute password authenticate, which is what actually logs in the user. And if that goes well, then we actually do reply to the client saying, "Here's the user, you're logged in, good to go." So these are middleware, and we're gonna learn and see, if you haven't seen yet, how we can pass from this middleware to the next middleware. Okay, so the first thing that this verify reCAPTCHA token needs to do is check if we have a token. So I'm going to say token is equal to, the token is coming in the body of the request. So I'm going to say token equal request that body that reCAPTCHA token. And this is the name we're using in our state, which is the name that we are using to send the information. So I'm going to do token there, and then I'm going to say if we have a token, then let's do this. Else, if we don't have a token, let's call next. Yeah, let's create an error. Equal new error. I was thinking about what the error message for this should be. I think I'm just gonna say, I was thinking, I'm gonna say like token. I'm just gonna say wrong token. Token missing. And then I'm gonna call next with an error. We'll see next a few more times. So that's if there is no token, then let's create an error and call next with an error. That makes it so that we never go on to the next middleware, which will be the one to create the user and actually store it into the database. This bypasses all of that and calls our error handlers. Now on the other case, we're gonna call Axios. So I'm gonna say const data equal await Axios. And this is it's gonna be a post request, and we need a URL. So the URL is given to you on the documentation. Let me see if we can find it here really quickly. Documentation, but reCAPTCHA 2 checkbox. Oh, here, server-side verification. This is very small. Server-side verification, verify the user response. And then here it says, Well, to verify the token from the user, you should send a post request to this URL. I'm going to copy that. And you should include a secret response, which is the token, and a remote MVP if you want. We're only going to do secret and response. So the way in which we're going to do that is I'm going to copy that here. And then I'm going to pass the secret. Oh, I guess we have to get the secret. Let's call it, let's just call it secret. We're going to figure out where that comes from. This argument, I was just going to be, it could be in the body or it could also be in the params. I checked that yesterday. I'm just gonna do it in the params here in the query params. Secret, what was the other thing? Response and response. And this has to be our token. So that's that. Let's get our secret. Our secret key comes from the environment, which we learn how to use access by just doing process env that reCAPTCHA secret key. I have a spelling mistake here, process. So we have our token and our secret, and then we just plug those into the URL. And then this is the URL that we're going to use here. URL. Now the data that we get back from that will look like this. It will look like this. It's an object that has success, true or false, challenge timestamp, a host name, and error codes, if any. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check if the data that success is true, then everything went well. This is a user. Let's let him go to the next middleware. So we're gonna do if data.success. We just need to call next, just like that. Next, we'll make it go to the next middleware, which is the, okay, let's add this user to the database. Else, I don't remember what I had done in the other one. I think I might create an error. Let me check what I did here. Yeah, just an error. So we can call let error equal new error, reCAPTCHA validation fail. And we just call next, but now we call it with an error. When we call next with an error, not the next middleware gets called, but the error handlers get called. When we call next just by itself, the next middleware gets called, which in this case is going to be this function. This function is the next middleware, which has the password and actually add the user to our database. So I think this is it here. Oh, if in case where there is an error here in the catch, we just call next with that error. There's a few things here. Questions, comments, or thoughts on this side? Okay, so let's try it out. Let's try it out. So we have that there. We capture token missing. Yeah, wrong token or token missing. We exported it. That looks good. Then we are using it like this, as I said, in our as middleware. We're using it as middleware on our routes, the routes that we want to protect. And I think that should be it. Let's try it out. Let's try this out in here first. React. Cool. Let me refresh this page. I tried to do that. I have to verify that I'm not a bot. Click that. Then I'm going to log in. Oh, I guess, you know what, before I do that, let me console log here for you. Console log data that we got back. Verification. Data, so that we see what that looks like. And if my token hasn't expired, then I'm going to send that. Oops, something happened. Something wrong happened. Because I'm doing this, nothing is happening. I see login is failing with 500. Let's take a look. We are sending the right information. reCAPTCHA token, password, username. Let's take a look at the response. Oh, it says reference error, access is not defined, and my token expired, my verification expired there. Access is not defined.
Maybe we didn't require it.
I think so. I think that's what happened here. Oh, this line is interesting. Proc. I didn't put that line. Oh, when I was typing process, I misspelled it. Yeah, so I forgot to import Axios here. Require, because we're in Node. Let's try this like one more time. Refresh the page. Let's clear this. Check, I'm not a robot. Log in. That seemed to have gone well because we to the next page. Let's take a look at the login here. Preview, all information looks good here. Response, user successfully logged in, looks good. Now let's take a look at the console log on our backend to see if we got anything there. There we go. We got the reCAPTCHA verification success, true. The host name was localhost because I'm running in localhost at the moment. And I think that is it. The fact that this returned true, then in our helpers, we just check if that returns true, then we call next, we let it go to the next thing. That's good. Now for instance, if we try to call our bots now, what would happen?
Would probably fail. We get 500s.
Let's try it out. Let's run your bots. Oh, before you run your bot, let's see how many users do we have. Oh wait, well actually, hold on. If you run your bots, that's still gonna flood it because we have to deploy this to Heroku for it to take precedence. But right now, we should be good to go. Any questions or comments? I know that I sort of rushed through this part.
It's a lot to take in. I'm probably going to review the notes from today's class, the README, but it did, however, also spark I've used .env, but only locally. I need to research how to use it, like on Heroku or in a deployment situation. I'm sure it's yeah. I just need to.
We're gonna get to see that part.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Siham.
Yeah, I have a question. How about you said like on reCAPTCHA at the beginning when you when you try to sign up, that you should not run on localhost. If you want to remove the localhost, what's gonna?
So okay, yeah. So let's talk about that. That's connected to that part under deployment. So I'm going to. So this is the app here. I'm gonna do its status. Just git add everything. Git status, everything was added. Now do git commit, and then I'm gonna say add reCAPTCHA server side verification. Cool. Now I'm gonna do git push this to my branch, reCAPTCHA done in class. And now I want to push this to Heroku. So I think since this is already on Heroku, but I had the master branch on Heroku. Now I need to push this branch. What I could do is like either merge this branch with master and then push master, or I could push this branch directly. But I think git remote -v. So I don't have, because this is a brand new clone, I don't have the Heroku added here. So let me just add it so that I connect my branch, my local repo with Heroku. This should be quick. So let's go to reCAPTCHA full stack example, and then go to settings here. So I can, this is the Heroku Git URLs. I can do this step manually. So once I do that, I copy that, and then I'm gonna add git remote add Heroku. I'm gonna paste that URL. So this is gonna add another remote to my Git repo. So if I do git remote -v now, I have Heroku. So that means now I can push to Heroku, just like we push to origin, which is GitHub. So I can git push, and then I'm gonna do Heroku. But because I wanna push my reCAPTCHA done in class branch, I think I need to do reCAPTCHA master. This is in the instructions for how to deploy full stack to Heroku, which I also linked up here. These instructions deploying a full stack app using Heroku. All the steps that I'm just doing are here for the review. Well, let's go back here. I think this might fail. Let's try it out. Okay, that seems to be pushing just fine. Cool. So then this is pushing my reCAPTCHA done in class to be my master, but the master on Heroku, which is then my deploy version. So let's try that out. So it seems that it's going well. This always takes a little bit here as it's building the front end. Okay, we just moved a little bit. Oh, it's just gonna start building the front end. So that must, this here was bcrypt. Bcrypt takes a little bit to install because it uses a lot of native modules, which have to be compiled. Okay, seems like the front end is finished in building. Again, this is happening according to the steps that I outlined on our lesson here for deploying a full stack app, on how to get that going. Cool. So I guess it sounds like we got it there. Now let's take a look if my deploy version has now that. I go back here, open app. So there we go. Now we have the one on the deployed has the reCAPTCHA box. I think I have a user called user1 whose password is hello1, hello123. Login, yeah, it's preventing me from. I click on here, then I'm not a robot. Then I'm gonna log in. Oh, okay. So this goes to Douglas's point. How do we do this in the backend? Right now, this is failing And if we look at the network, when I log in, I'm getting a 500.
That's your EMV, I guess. You have to set it up on Heroku as well.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We see that we're sending the right information. When I look at the response, it just says internal server error. When we're in deployment, when we deploy, Express doesn't give very specific errors because, we don't want to disclose something that might be sensitive to an attacker. So when something goes wrong, it just says internal server error. That's it. So if we want to look at what went wrong, what we can do is in the terminal. Oh, the token expire. Let's go to the terminal, and then we can say Heroku logs --tail -a, the name of my app, which is reCAPTCHA full stack example. And this is also on the deployment instructions. And then with this, I can look at the logs of my app. Oh, it seems that one of you has the bot running. One of you have the bot running because this is not stopping. Wait, is it possible to stop? Or is it me? Maybe it's me.
I was gonna say, I don't think mine's running.
No, I don't think mine is running either. Well, so one of you is sending it, but like right now is at least it's failing. It's not letting you sign up new users. But this is, as Amin mentioned, is because on our backend, we need our reCAPTCHA secret key. So how do we set that in the environment for our backend once it's deployed in Heroku? So we could do that from the terminal. In the terminal, that is an instruction that I think I have here. We can do this. We can do Heroku config set, and then the name of the variable, and then what you want. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do Heroku config set reCAPTCHA secret key equal, and I'm going to paste my secret key from my notes here. Paste that there, and then I'm going to say, hey, the app that I want to do this for is my reCAPTCHA full stack example. Then let's try that. Hit enter. So that's saying setting reCAPTCHA secret key and restarting reCAPTCHA full stack example. Done. And then it shows me what is set. So this is how we set that environment variable on Heroku. If that went well, if that truly went well, then we can try to log in or sign up again in our apps. It's this one. Yeah, let's refresh this. I think is user 1, 2, 3. Not a robot. Login, and now it let us through. It let us through going in well, and now, oh, this is taking now a little bit. How many users do we have here? Right. Oh, okay. Oh, I had left mine running, so mine managed to add 12,000. 105, but that's it. It's not gonna get more than that. You can fire your bots. I'm gonna fire mine as well. Maybe let me. Where's I'm gonna move my bot here. So, oops. CD my bot. No. sh bot.sh. So my bot is now running. If I do, the URL hasn't changed. So if let's open up. Actually, let's open it up here. I'm gonna open another. I'm gonna do Heroku logs tail for my app. Oh, oops. I guess we're getting a ton of 500, which is too fast, too fast to even look at. Let's stop it so I can make a look at one, and then we get this error: wrong token, token missing. And I guess like here we can decide on whether to respond with a 500 or with something else. But here 500 will be fine. Our server is still responding. But then we see how this wrong token or token missing is what we had set up here, where because our bot doesn't have the token, and even if we try to have one, it will not be a token that comes from the Google service. Then we'll always be, caught here. And if we try to forge a token, we'll be caught here on the reCAPTCHA validation fail. And you can see that, like, I guess we can't know who's attacking it, but we can just see this log keep going. But if we go to our app and I refresh this page, which now takes a little bit to load. Look at that. It takes a few seconds to load, but we are not going to have more than 12,105 users. This was, our attacks earlier on when we were unprotected, but now we are protected with reCAPTCHA, and now our server is able to reject all those requests, even though there's a lot of them coming in. And our database is untouched by those requests because of our middleware that's checking if we have a token. And that is pretty much it. These are some good resources to implement reCAPTCHA with Firebase and how does the I'm not a robot checkbox work. Questions, comments, thoughts?
I really appreciate this. Thank you for putting this together for us.
Absolutely. I'll make sure to upload. Let me stop the recording here. Oops. I'll make sure